Prior to the advent of print in India, people read manuscripts written on palm leaves and handmade paper. In the mid-16th century, the printing press was introduced to India by Portuguese missionaries. Several books were printed by religious priests and missionaries in South Indian languages. Though English presses were being imported to India from the late 17th century, printing developed much later in India. Towards the end of the 18th century, a number of newspapers and journals were being printed. Gangadhar Bhattacharya's Bengal Gazette was the first newspaper to be started by an Indian. Several religion-based debates began to take place in society around the early 19th century. Consequently, printing and newspapers became a useful medium to convey the views of both the social reformers as well as the orthodox religious practitioners to the people. The arguments over religious practices grew intense between the reformers and the Hindu orthodoxy. To reach a wider audience, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a social reformer, published the Sambad Kaumudi, and to propose his views, the Hindu orthodoxy published the Samachar Chandrika. Later, two Persian newspapers, Jam-e-Jahan Nama and Shamshul Akbar, a Gujarati newspaper, the Bombay Samachar, started publication. At the same time, the ulama, the legal scholars of Islam and the Sharia, feared that they would be forced by the colonial rulers to convert, ultimately leading to the extinction of their community. Therefore, they began publishing newspapers containing Islamic teachings. The Deoband Seminary published several fatwas or legal pronouncements for circulation. The Hindus also began publishing religious texts in different Indian languages. Ramcharitmanas by Tulsidas was the first 16th century text to be published. Later, several religious texts were published in portable form, which increased the readership of these texts. As the reading culture grew in India, people wanted to read novels, stories and poems, as well as social and political issues. Later, visuals also became a part of the print culture. Several painters like Raja Ravi Varma provided their artwork for circulation. Caricatures and cartoons were also published, which depicted the social and political issues of society. Women became an important part of print culture too. During this time, several women writers wrote passionately about women's lives and their emotions. These included Kailash Bashini Devi, Tarabai Shinde and Pandita Ramabai, to name a few. While some liberal families educated the women of their houses, other conservative families kept women away from learning. However, there were many women like Rash Sundari Devi, who was married into an orthodox family and learned to read in secret. She wrote her autobiography, Amar Jibon, in Bengali. Similarly, there were many other publications that touched upon women's education, widowhood, widow remarriage, and the national movement. Reading and print culture spread rapidly in India. Batala, a place in Calcutta, was devoted entirely to the printing of popular books. Peddlers were sent door to door selling these publications. Books were also available at very low prices, making them affordable for the poor. Public libraries were established in towns, cities, and some prosperous villages, making books more accessible. Print also helped disclose the ugly face of caste discrimination. Jyotiba Phule wrote about the injustice of the caste system in his book Gulamgiri. Later, B.R. Ambedkar and E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar passionately wrote on the caste system. In the 20th century, some less educated mill workers wrote about their experiences and feelings on the caste system and class exploitation. Kashi Baba, a mill worker from Kanpur, wrote Chote aur Bade Ka Sawal, and another worker wrote a collection of poems called Sachi Kavitaye under the pen name of Sudarshan Chakkar. The mill workers of Bangalore also set up libraries to educate themselves. These libraries were funded by social reformers who wanted to improve the lives of the workers and also make them aware of nationalism. Print culture played an important role in connecting people and brought about changes in Indian society.